Are y'all ready for this?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. Today I'll be quickly talking about glute training, especially for female competitors out there and how important it is. Now, not just for competitors, but I know there's a lot of women out there, and the big craze right now is, having well-defined round glutes, okay? And it's something that people need to understand takes time, and it's not just about doing 1,000 kickbacks and bridges in order to get there. It really takes time, and it's not just exercise. Nutrition does come into hand as well, okay? So just quickly about my personal experience when training glutes. So for my competition, I was training them about 3 times a week, okay? Closer to comp, I was doing 4, but it wasn't like 4 days of heavy lifting. It was a lot more exercise to kind of get that glute pump. But I would say for someone that is looking to grow their glutes overall, I would say that definitely 3 times a week is what you need in order to achieve that. The only issue that I think people have is that they train them 3 times a week, that's great, but if you're in a very harsh deficit, you will not be able to actually grow a significant amount of muscle, okay? The studies have been shown that in a deficit, it's very little, if not none, okay? And that's why we have phases coming out of deficits, and that's where the muscle building takes place, okay? So you will hear people say that they're going into an off season to grow. And what that means is they've got to build their calories back up and fuel those sessions and fuel their body in order for the muscle to develop. So, and the only way that you can do that is obviously by increasing your calories. So it is important, guys, that if you want to grow your glutes, that you need to spend time out of a deficit and in a surplus to put on some of that muscle. Okay, and that's really important. Can you specifically spot areas where you want to grow muscle? No, unfortunately not. But if you are training those areas more frequently, definitely it's going to show, okay? I've seen this with my clients. I've seen this as a competitor. Like perfect example, and I'll show you like a side-by-side. I'll put it up here of this was about 2.5 weeks between shows. And you can see the glute development in the second picture is a lot better. And that was just 2.5 weeks of really focusing on glutes, okay? Obviously in the second photo, I was a little bit leaner as well. Now, that wasn't me building muscle in those 2.5 weeks. What it actually was, most likely, is the fact that I was a bit leaner and the muscle was able to show through a bit more. And you're able to see more of like, especially the tie-ins and whatnot. But where I built a lot of that was in my off season or leading up to the competition, okay? And when I hit more of a deficit, closer towards the back end of my prep, well then obviously I wasn't building muscle, okay? And that's why it's important to, have an off season. And competitors, it's very hard for them to do back-to-back shows because that's not enough time to grow. You even see it in as high a level as Olympia. On the Olympia stage, the girls that take the time to grow, they come back even better, okay? And there's some that they're doing, like 14 shows in a year. Their body hasn't changed significantly because most of that year, their body was in a deficit, which means very little chance that they're going to grow a significant amount of muscle. So very important, guys. At the moment, I am in what we would call a building phase. So I am eating a surplus, okay? I definitely feel a lot more puffier, bigger, but I know that I'm doing that for a reason and I'm going to see significant growth, and I can't wait to peel the layers off. And once I do get into prep and start to, go into a deficit and start to see that. And I'm really keen to show you guys and, actually compare the photos side by side of my comp last year and the one that I'm doing this year. And I know that it will be a significant change because I've taken the time to grow and I've taken the time to fuel my body in order to build muscle. Okay. You need to remember as well, especially for all the ladies out there, naturally women do not grow muscle as quickly and as developed as men. That is naturally, of course. So it does take more time. But for those out there, that really want to focus on that, I've seen it firsthand. It's growing in the off season, really taking the time to find the exercises that are targeting more of your glutes and not your hamstrings. I think a lot of people get confused with glutes and hamstrings. Okay, so for example, like a stiff leg or Romanian deadlift. Whilst that is a great glute exercise, it's always also targets a lot of the hamstrings. I also find with myself, and you'll probably find this as well with a lot of people out there, when I start to fatigue, my hamstrings take over, and that way the contraction in the glute is not as great. So I really try to focus on exercises that just target my glutes. Do I train hamstrings? Of course, but that would probably only be once a week. I would really try to focus on exercises that are really, focusing on that glute area, and you'll be able to feel it, guys. If you feel like that constant tension in your glutes, okay, that they're firing. And I think it's important for everyone to experiment with different exercises because everyone's body is mechanically different. And some people, like I know, for instance, some people, when they do a squat, they feel it predominantly in their quads, whereas some people feel it predominantly in their hamstrings. And it just depends on the person, depends on the way they do certain exercises, their mobility, range of motion and whatnot. So I think it's really important, guys, to just understand that. If you're not a competitor and you just want to, grow your glutes or have those nice full glutes, the same goes for you. You cannot do it by being on fuck all calories, eating 1,200 calories a day and expecting changes to happen, okay? You can do 1,000 exercises, but at the end of the day, you need the food to fuel that, okay? And to help with the muscle building process. So if you really need help, guys, with that, please reach out and let me know if you want help. My programs are tailored and designed to your goals. So if that is your goal, I am more than happy to help you with that. Now, what I'm going to include at the end of this video is just some of my top 5 favorite glute exercises that I always include in my training. Now, these exercises are something that I will always have in some form, and the things that I may change is whether it be the load, the reps, even with a hip thrust, there's so many different variations. I will do a cast glute bridge, I will do single leg, I would do banded, I will do, time under tension, 1 1/4 reps. There's so many different ways that you can do these exercises to ensure that, your body is not, oh, okay, look, we're doing a normal hip thrust again. Your body does adapt and adjust to certain exercises, especially using the same load. So ensuring that you have a variety in your program is really important. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the next little clip, and yeah, happy glute growing, guys.